Canadians rely on CBC Radio Canada. From Schitt's Creek to Hockey Night in Canada and Mike Myers, these are products of Canada. They're the result of strong, representative public broadcasting.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
CBC Radio Canada is especially vital for Canadians in rural and remote areas where it's often their only source of local information.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Canadians rely on it to keep up with what's happening, and when disasters happen, such as forest fires, floods, or storms that threaten their communities, public broadcasting is crucial as a vital source of information to help people to stay safe. We also count on public broadcasting to discover up-and-coming Canadian musicians, creators, storytellers, whose work might otherwise get buried by the avalanche of American content on social media.
No way!
Canada's identity and institutions are under attack by foreign interference. And instead of defending them, Pierre Poilievre is following President Trump's lead and taking aim at our institutions like CBC Radio Canada.
What the hell are you talking about?
Pierre Poilievre pretends that you can keep one but not the other. But he's not Solomon. You can't split this baby. His attack on CBC is an attack directly on Radio Canada, and it is an attack on our Canadian identity. If elected, my government will take action to enshrine and protect and strengthen CBC Radio Canada for generations to come.
Oh, no.
We will modernize the mandate of our public broadcaster. We will give it the resources it needs to fulfill its renewed mission and ensure that its future is guided by all Canadians and not subject to the whims of a small group of people led by ideology. When it comes to this most important of Canadian institutions, all Canadians should have their say, not just a small group. We will not only increase CBC Radio Canada's funding by $150 million, but we will also make this funding statutory, meaning that Parliament as a whole will need to approve any future changes to its funding, not just the Cabinet.
No. Wait. Wait.
By strengthening our public broadcaster, we're protecting our identity and our culture and helping it to shine around the world. We're making Canada strong. Our plan will safeguard a reliable Canadian public square in a sea of misinformation and disinformation.
Are you serious?
So we can stay informed and tell our own stories in our own languages. Our plan will not only strengthen CBC Radio Canada, it will strengthen our communities that rely on it. It will make Canada strong.
Judy Trins, CTV News. Good morning, Mr. Carney. You were at the helm of a company that quite clearly registered much of its business in Bermuda to avoid paying taxes, including, as CTV News reported, registered to an address of a bike shop in Bermuda. You have said that this is the way the world works, and that in the case of pension funds, that leaves more money for pensioners. But in this case, it looks like just plain tax avoidance. This may be a legal practice, and as you say, as the world works, but is it ethical, Mr. Carney?
First off, I'm no longer at Brookfield. Secondly, this follows, their arrangements follow the rules, including the tax rules of this country, other countries. And thirdly, as you mentioned in your question, that the structure is organized so that Canadian pension funds can get the most benefit for those pensioners, which are teachers, retired first responders, and public servants. Thank you.
You did not really respond to the question as to your opinion as to if it was ethical.
Well, we're waiting.
But let me follow up on that. You wrote a book, Values. The thesis of that book was that capitalism or markets left to their own devices don't help humanity. For years, your party, the Liberal Party, has promised to stop the practice of tax avoidance that Brookfield and other companies have engaged in. Do you have the tools to do that? You said so. When are you going to release and tell Canadians what those tools are, and when will you implement them?
Nothing to see here, please!
In terms of having a fair tax system in Canada, including for corporate taxation, it's absolutely a priority of my government. If we are re-elected, it'd be a priority of our government to ensure that our companies are paying their fair share of taxes, and that, above all, that those taxes that are at the resources that are at the disposal of the government, that they're being put in place for the purposes that Canadians want. And today is about making sure that those scarce resources are used to reinforce our culture in an independent CBC Radio Canada that provides vital information in all of our communities, and that helps to build this vibrant culture. And we couldn't be in a better setting, I think, than in Montreal to point to that culture that lives and breathes and is so crucial to our national identity. Thank you.
Right.
Next question.
Good morning. Bill Crave with Globe and Mail. Following President Trump's tariff announcement this week, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith described it as a big win for Alberta and Canada. What are your thoughts on that assessment?
Well, I think, thank you for the question, Bill. As I said yesterday, that I think with respect to the reciprocal tariffs, which is what the Americans are calling the series of tariffs announcements this week, Canada got the best of a series of bad deals. That's true. But we did get a better deal than any other country. But we also have the reality that in place are tariffs that came from the unjustified tariffs that came from the fentanyl issue, an issue that we have put enormous efforts into addressing on both sides of the border, tariffs that are in place on aluminum and steel, and then tariffs that entered into force as of yesterday in our automobile sector. And so all of those in contravention of our trade agreements with the United States. So I don't think this is time for celebration. It's a time to fight those tariffs. It's a time to protect our workers and the companies affected. And it's time to build, including our cultural institutions.
It's my first day.
Former Reform Party leader Preston Manning recently wrote that if Canadians vote for you, it's a vote for Western secession. You opted not to run in an Edmonton riding, even though you grew up there. You have not yet campaigned west of Winnipeg. So what are your thoughts on Mr. Manning's comments, and what is your plan to address Western alienation concerns? Well,
a couple of things. I as you know, born in Northwest Territories, grew up in Alberta. I resolved to no one in terms of my understanding of the West, my connection to the West. And I'm part of a government that governs for all of the country and very much for the West. I think such dramatic comments are unhelpful at a time when Canadians are coming together, and that is the sense in the West as well. I would note the leader of the opposition encouraged greater unity. This is a time when we need to come together as a country. We are coming together as a country. What we're offering as the Liberal government is a positive plan, a plan of action that Canadians can rally behind, including in the West. And I look forward to seeing you out West, Bill, on Sunday.